The Game Marks podcast wants to express its condolences to the family and friends of John Huber, known as Brody Lee in AEW, and Luke Harper in the WWE.
Wake up your mind.
This week on the Game Marks podcast, we throw it back to 1994 and play the Japanese exclusive Super Wrestle Angels for the Super Famicom. We decide if we're play it forever, woo, future endeavor.
You're fired!
Plus, Clash with the Feast and gaming news. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now,
The
Game Marks.
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I am the man of 1,001 nicknames, George Feis. And today we are playing Super Wrestle Angels.
And as always, we love to hear from you guys, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. And join the conversation on social media and Discord at Game Marks Pod. What's up, George? How you feeling? You feeling good? I know we are only a few hours after you stopped streaming for Game Marks Mania. Where? Let me get that drum roll you did last week.
Oh.
We broke $1,000 for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Everyone give yourself a hand.
I'm shocked. I'm incredibly, I had my moments. I broke down a little bit, got a little teary-eyed.
You did. I saw that. I was with you.
Pretty impressive. One of the stipulations for the donations, but that is that this week my nickname, and this one's a long one.
Here we go.
I'm just really good, or no, I'm sorry. I'm just really bad at hockey video games. George New Year's Baby Feis.
What? Why?
Yeah, so Elder Spork, friend of the show, Elder Spork, donated and said, I will donate if you make your nickname, I'm really bad at hockey video games. A play on, I'm just really good at video games.
Yeah, we know that part.
And then Jamie Patterson comes in and goes, you know what? I will also donate if you add on to that nickname that you are the New Year's baby.
Okay, sure. Then I accept it.
And here we are.
So, all right, let's get the GameBoree update then rolling now. How about that? How about we say where we stand right now? As we said last week, Brian Gallert won the Cohen Children's Medical Center 50-50, and he graciously donated it back. So we donated $250 to Cohen's Children's Medical Center. Thank you very much, Brian. And as of right now, St. Jude, now this goes until January 1st. That's Friday. So we could still, I'm not sure if we could actually get the last tier, but we could still keep it going. We are at $1,070. So that means every donor's name on our website.
Check.
2 pairs of VGF Gamers Pro Touch analog grips.
Check.
3 different Game Marks prize packs to random donors, which includes this year's t-shirt, grips, and an 8x10 signed by us.
Ooh,
2 pairs of VGF ProFlex controller grips.
check.
1 WWE Battlegrounds for your console of choice, whoever wins.
Check.
And the 1000 level, the one we all can't wait for, and our Twitch chat could not wait for. The wives will host an episode. I am getting daggers stared through me right now.
As Johnny's wife looks on in fear.
If you reach the next tier?
If you reach the tier, no. The next tier, you still have to do it. It's unlocked. So the $1,000 tier is unlocked. That's you hosting an episode.
Yeah.
Oh, God. No.
To design a character?
She wants to know if she gets to design a character. If it's one of those games you can.
Oh, well, last night, there was a discussion about if we do hit the 5,000 tier, where the tattoos would be going. So I said if we're able to hit 5,000
in a week
tonight, that no, I actually said during the live stream, if we were able to hit it on Saturday, that you would get half of your face tattooed with the GMP mask.
You made this bet without me?
You were in the chat. I just don't think that you had the sound on at that moment.
That's possible.
So I said it, and you had to take a brief absence to go take care of some stuff. So while you were in the chat, I was talking, and I was pretty sure that you were there still, and
okay.
You didn't respond. And I was like, well, I guess his silence means that he is okay with it.
All right. Well, we still have a couple days left. You're listening to this on Monday. Then you have until Friday to keep the donations coming in for St. Jude. You can do so by going on our Facebook, facebook.com/GameMarksPod. Look at our pinned post, and you could donate there. Or you could head on over to GameMarksPod.com/donate and see some other ways to donate. So, George, last week we played WCW Nitro. Any thoughts, comments, concerns? You keeping your rating?
I'm sticking with it. I am looking forward to playing the next title and the final WCW title that we'll be playing, aside from the mobiles or the handhelds. But yeah, I just I can't get over the fact that I still can't pinpoint exactly where I want to put that game. It's like a wrestling game, and also it's a fighting game, and also it's like got Mortal Kombat 4 elements to it. It's a very strange game, but
they really tried to be different with it.
Yeah, how about you? How are you feeling? Sticking with your rating?
Yeah, like I said, I know that Thunder's coming, and I really like Thunder. But do I like it enough to like play it forever? I don't know.
I mean,
but I'm sticking with my rating for Nitro.
All right. Well, look, normally this is the part where we plug our Discord server. And honestly, I'm just going to say this. If you're not a part of the Discord server and you listen to this podcast, you got to get in there. We talk about everything. There's literally something for everybody. Twitch.tv/GameMarksPod. There's a Discord link there. GameMarksPod.com/Discord. There's a link for it there. But I'm also going to say this. Starting next year, we are going to be featuring a brief new segment in this opening where we can shine a spotlight on some of the other content creators, because starting January of 2021, the Game Marks podcast will now have a new section called the Streamer Spotlight.
Ooh.
Where we will be taking your Twitch channels, the listeners. If you stream on Twitch, shoot us a message, link us to your Twitch channel, and submit your channel to be one of the first streamer spotlights. Should we tell everybody who the first one's gonna be? Should we wait and do the big reveal when we get closer to the new year? What do you think, Johnny?
If you have someone in mind, let's just say it now.
You know what? Oh, I think we're gonna wait. I think we're gonna hold off.
Okay.
We're gonna wait a little bit closer to iron out the final details, and we'll say next week on the podcast we will be announcing the first. I mean, if you watch the live stream, Game Marks Mania, we talked about who the first one's going to be. But if you didn't happen to catch that, we will be announcing who the first streamer spotlight is going to be next week on the podcast.
All right, cool. I like it. And with that, speaking of other streamers, other podcasts, I'm continuing my interrogations, per se. I don't like calling them that because these are our friends and I don't like interrogating them, but I asked some questions, and this one just happened to be Justin Summers, who is a friend of the pod, who also hosts Wrestle Cheers. Yes. So here is what he had to say. The
third host of our Dexter podcast.
Exactly. So maybe he got mad that like you even joined up with that. So
I was to say that is a very, maybe he's just like, what is this? George is just inserting himself into the Justin and Johnny podcast.
That might be it, but this is what he had to say.
Hey, Johnny and George. It's Justin Summers from Wrestling Cheers. So let me get this straight. You guys think I'm the glitch, that I'm messing with your show, I'm messing with your Twitch, I'm trolling you? Guys, what possible reason could I have to do that to you? I'm probably hands down, like one of these top 5, top 10 Game Marks fans? I mean, I binged this show in a matter of months after starting listening to it. And hell, that was right after I did it for Off the Hop Rope. I mean, I know that I did submit an application and some recordings to be the official voice of the Game Marks podcast. And unfortunately, you picked somebody else. Do you guys really think I have a vendetta? Do you think that I'm plotting my revenge? That I'm watching your every move till the moment I can wrap you in plastic and put you in a plastic covered room? Guys, what kind of serial killer does that? Definitely not me. And there's no way that I would mess with your podcast. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to mess with Wrestling Cheers. I wouldn't want somebody to come in and corrupt just part of my show, or I'm talking about Northeast Ohio independent wrestling, or even having an interview with somebody. I mean, that's a lot of hard work for someone just to come in and ruin it. I wouldn't want anybody to do that to me, so I definitely wouldn't do that to anybody else. I wouldn't do it over not getting picked for the official voice of Game Marks podcast, and I wouldn't do it because I've yet to be invited on the show. No grudges, but maybe in 2021, I'll finally get that invite. I wish you both the best in finding the pencil neck geek that's doing this to you guys. Then after it's all said and done, maybe you guys will have a nice slice of life. All the best.
All right, so another friend of ours we could check off of our list. I got to see, there might be others that I have to ask about this. I'm not sure. We also haven't really heard much from this glitch in a while. I did notice it last week's Clash at the Feast. It did have a little flash in the outro. So at least they're not interfering with our content anymore, but we will
Maybe that was in the holiday spirit.
Yeah, we will get to the bottom of it. Maybe they had too much eggnog and they just forgot.
Ah, yes.
All right, and with that, is it time for some gaming news?
Let's do it, Johnny. Take us through some gaming news. Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at VGFgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
New York-based Rosen Law Firm has filed a class action lawsuit against Cyberpunk 2077's publisher, CD Projekt SA, due to its alleged violation of federal security laws. Announced in a press release, Rosen Law Firm is filing the class action lawsuit on behalf of purchasers of the securities of CD Projekt SA between January and December 2020. They are seeking to recover damages for CD Projekt investors under the federal securities laws. Despite all these issues, it didn't stop Cyberpunk 2077 from selling over 13 million copies and recouping its entire development and marketing costs with pre-orders alone. Now, some players have accidentally been playing PS4 versions of cross-gen games on their PS5, and now Sony has added a warning that will help make sure that doesn't happen. Now, if you try to start a game You will now be asked to confirm your game's version. It will say you're about to play the PS4 version of this game. Do you want to switch to the PS5 version? It then offers you an option to download or play the PS4 or PS5 version on your PS5. And that's all the gaming news we have. Check back next week. So I didn't do a Clash and Burn this week because of the holiday, but I will say that I can't say CD Projekt Red. CD Projekt Red has given me my refund for Cyberpunk, and when I went into my PlayStation home screen, it's no longer available. It has an X through it, and I just deleted it, and I forgot that the game ever existed.
All right. Well, I mean, it was a very unfortunate experience. I know a friend of mine has it and has had little to no issues with it, so I'm...
Now, on what console? PS4?
He's on PC.
Okay. Yeah, no, PC is perfect.
Yeah.
Seems like if you have a
perfect.
No, but if you have
it's better.
PC, you're like, that's what they designed this for. But PS4, if you have the PS4 Pro, you should only have like minimal issues, but like I have the original PS4, so it wants nothing to do with my console.
I'm gonna spring a random question on you before we jump into the official question of the week. Did you get anything good for the holidays, John?
Oh, we got Spider-Man Miles Morales in my possession and The Last of Us 2, finally. What about you?
Oh, I got, so each week when I stream, you can see this lovely drum set right behind me. John has to look at it every single time we record, and everyone who comes and hangs out with us on Twitch gets to see this drum set in the background. I got a new symbol for my electric drum set,
nice.
and it is
pristine. Little China? No.
It could be what it's a programmable symbol. It could be whatever I want.
Look at you. All right. Turn it upside down, make it a China.
There you go.
All right. I like it.
Guys, did you know that I was in a band? Did you know that Johnny Clash was also in a band?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us another 100 times? Anyway,
oh my God.
Let's go to the question of the week. Game marks while you sit there, hopefully as uncomfortable as you possibly can be. I want you to listen to me. I want you to digest this because I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest. I don't hate you, Marks, but the Game Marks podcast have their own pro wrestling tee store. Brace yourself because the Game Marks podcast are now on Pro Wrestling Tees with original designs to let everyone know if you will play it forever or a future endeavor. Head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod and get your tees today. Hey Nick Stapp, how you doing?
All right, so the question of the week is a weekly segment where we go back and forth and ask each other questions, and then we like to propose the question to you, and you let us know your answers on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. This week, it is Johnny's turn to ask the question. Take it away, sir.
All right, so holiday season. We briefly talked about movies last week before you realized you already asked that question, and we cut it out of the episode. So
that is true.
Jingle All the Way has been on TV. Paul White, a.k.a. The Giant, a.k.a. The Big Show, is featured in that movie. So I want to ask you, what is your favorite wrestling cameo in a movie?
Ooh. There's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
No, I mean, the one that always makes me laugh is The Rock and the other guys, but he's not The Rock then. He's Dwayne. He's Dwayne Johnson.
And he's only in the beginning.
He's not The Rock. I mean, the one that I loved as a kid was Undertaker in Suburban Commando. I thought that was always funny.
That's a good one.
His voice is ridiculously high. Honorable mention is like the 7 people that were in MacGruber. Do you remember that movie?
Yes. Also, The Longest Yard had a few too, right? Like Goldberg was in that.
That's true. Yeah, I think
Stone
MacGruber's
Cold.
got like Big Show and Khali, and I think Mark Henry's in it. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many people in that, like, and they're bigger wrestlers.
So I think I have one and one answer only, and it's Kevin Nash as Super Shredder.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I feel like that was the low hanging fruit. That was the
Yeah.
easy one to go for. Everybody knows about that one.
But anyway, as usual, we now throw this question to you guys. What is your favorite wrestling cameo in a movie?
Oh, you know what I'm surprised you didn't say? Kimberly Page in the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Oh, that is a good one. All right. The cement mixers are rolling just in time for us to take our hashtag deep dive into this week's game. What do you say?
Let's do it.
What's up, Game Marks Podcast? This is Danny Tancredi, and I'm here with my brother Johnny Tancredi, and together we are the Caught Looking Podcast. Each week we bring to you the latest news and reviews on all things baseball collectibles.
From baseball cards and memorabilia to bobbleheads and stadium giveaways, each episode will discuss the newest products to hit the shelves of your local card store and your favorite ballparks around the country.
Be sure to be following us on Instagram at the Caught Looking Podcast and on Twitter at CaughtLookingBB.
New episodes drop every Friday, so be sure to tune in wherever great podcasts, like this one, are available.
The Caught Looking Podcast. Don't get caught looking, start collecting.
Okay. Super Wrestle Angels, released December 16th, 1994 for the Super Famicom, developed by Imagineer, published by Great.
Was this game
It's
great?
It's
Find
the name.
out later.
We'll find out. So, this game is actually based on the, I mean, true to the style of the game, it's actually based on a pro wrestling card game that came out 2 years prior. So this game comes out in 94. There's a wrestling card game that comes out in 92, which we've briefly touched on those. I mean, during Clash at the Feast, we say that this is kind of like, in our heads, kind of like the precursor to Super Card.
Very, very card-based, very almost like Pokemon-y, where you're going back and forth, taking turns, seeing who gets like the better move off, and that affects your health.
So originally, this series starts out on the NEC PC 98, and aside from that being literally the hardest thing to ever say, it is a personal computer that was exclusive to Japan. It's like a gaming console kind of thing, precursor, and this series has literally a ton of titles on here. There's like 7 of them. Wrestle Angels, Wrestle Angels 2, Wrestle Angels 3, Wrestle Angels Special, and then Wrestle Angels version 1, version 2, and version 3.
There's a lot of Wrestle Angels.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
and
was
we
one
gotta
enough?
say,
We'll find
the
out
game
later.
we're playing today is tame compared to the other games.
And you know what? I'm surprised. I went into this expecting.
I told
the
you
worst.
last week
It's a
it wasn't
Japanese,
that bad.
But you have steered me wrong.
Come on.
I thought you were just being like, yeah, it's not that bad, and then it was going to be the worst, and we were not going to be able to have a Clash at the Feast because couldn't record
They're
a
going to
video.
remove our thumbnail again, like Rumble Roses.
Yeah. So, oh come on.
What, George?
So apparently there is I guess like Johnny was saying before, there's a more adult oriented version of these games where apparently the wrestlers' swimsuits could be removed during the death matches, and as the series went on, the lewdness increased, and eventually tears turned into bigger tears, and then eventually things just being completely removed. Japan.
I got nothing there. I got nothing. Why don't we talk about the gameplay? So let's talk about our experience first. So we played a one-on-one match. That's player 1, player 2. We were able to actually do a 2-player here, which shocked me. I thought we were going to run into issues. Because this game is very heavy into the like single player, and I don't know. I didn't know what to expect. But first of all, we couldn't read a thing. There was no English anywhere other than the word USA, which was in one of the roster members' names. And we kind of just had to feel our way around, and we eventually picked it up, which is a good sign.
Yeah, it's very intuitive. Not a huge learning curve.
So we were able to actually run a few matches and figure out briefly what we were doing. Each move comes out as like a card, almost like a solitaire looking screen where a card comes out each time and each card has a move. So my card might be George's card and vice versa, but we don't know what the numbers actually meant on the card. I don't know.
It's so strange. So like I think that may have something to do with the stamina, like how much power it takes to do that move.
Right.
And that maybe those two are connected in that way, but then it seems like there were just some moves that were always grayed out that you couldn't select it whether you had like a full stamina bar or
maybe those are specials.
Maybe.
Yeah, but so let's talk about the single player aspect, because first, in order to launch your promotion and start running shows, you need to build a roster. This whole game is heavily based around your promotion and signing wrestlers. So you sign freelance indie talent who are talented and famous but cost a lot, or you could scout some rookies who come really cheap and they're kind of unknown, so they won't add too much to your actual show. You kind of have to build them up, you know? Later on, you could actually go into a rival promotion and try to hire away their unhappy talent. But they'll also do the same thing to you, so you could actually lose one of your top stars in this game, and that'll hurt your promotion. I like this aspect of the game. It's kind of like GM mode, but expanded. Like you could do even more.
It's like aggressive GM mode.
Right. It's kind of like the territories in like Legends of Wrestling almost. In addition to all this, you could sign a talent sharing agreement with one of the 5 North American promotions to bring in their wrestlers. And some of them have some kind of funny, like swapped names, like Beautiful Jody Beaton from the GWA and Dusty Rolla from the WWCA. So we got a little play on words here. To take your individual wrestler and increase their popularity, you could put them against the other popular wrestlers from other promotions or your promotions and kind of boost them up. And
they're really banking on this like territory thing. It's kind of,
I like it though. It's cool.
It's kind of interesting.
It's not a dynamic you're going to see at this era of like Super Nintendo games in like Raw or any WWF game at all. Even today, really, you don't see much like this. This is basically an
I was just going to say, you don't even like these are the things that people have been asking for in games for a while, and they just haven't been getting it. And here we are, 94, and this seemingly unexpected card game's like, yeah, don't worry, I got you.
We're the hidden gem here. Now, every wrestler has attack, defense stats, and moves in 5 categories: suplexes, submissions, strikes, high-flying attacks, and miscellaneous maneuvers, kind of like taunts or illegal weapons. We didn't get to see any of the weapons, but we did see the taunts.
No. Maybe that's the things that were blacked out.
It's possible. Maybe we needed to turn something on and we didn't know where that was.
And much like the game that we played last week, if you taunt, you will regain some of your power, health, stamina.
I don't want to talk about that.
Johnny very much utilized that. I don't think we understood exactly what it was until probably the second or third match that we played. We're like, oh, that's not just you standing in the middle of the ring. Your health bar actually goes up. And he's like, oh, look at that. That's a neat aspect that you can actually heal yourself in the middle of the match.
Now, just like, I think it was the Big Pro Wrestling that has, I could be wrong. You could upgrade your gym equipment, which allows you to conduct more training sessions and spend extra, they call it AP, but it's kind of like XP on one wrestler a month for special training. So you can kind of boost your stars that way also. But now the wrestlers also have morale and trust ratings that can go down or up. And if they go down, guess what? They're going to leave your promotion. If they go up, they might be your next top guy. You don't know. But once you recruit 6 wrestlers and end your turn, you have to organize your first tour. Now, you could run up to 8 shows per tour in any country. Now, the cool part here is the venues on this tour are actual venues. So you could go to like the Tokyo Dome or Korakuen Hall, and you actually see the attendance and the size of the local fan base. There's a lot in this game.
That's way more than I expected. Right. I thought that this
autograph
was just
sessions,
be a simple card game.
Yeah. Now,
simple card game, kind of like weird wrestling, mahjong, solitaire, and the amount of replayability features, detail in something that in other titles of the same series are mainly just focused around how much clothing can you remove. Like this is so much detail. It's weird to think about that. Like
it is, but also the
don't know.
more shows you run on these tours, your popularity goes up, but your wrestlers' endurance can degrade every time and they can get injured, which is not good for your promotion.
Nope,
but also
definitely don't
there
want
are
that.
other like random events that your wrestlers can do where they can go like on TV shows and talk shows, local charities. Now, the gameplay here, I'm going to get into this for a minute because I want to talk about the other stuff. The gameplay itself, like the moves, they come up in like 4-part like sprited comic strips of the move. So you'll see like 1, 2, 3, 4 show up on the screen and it's a DDT, and then it finally shows that last move over it, which looks pretty cool. It's a different dynamic. It's not a full-on animated move, but all of this is the same. The game is very text heavy. So when we say like they're appearing on a talk show, it's not like Backyard Wrestling where they're actually appearing on a talk show.
Yeah, it's and the text, unfortunately, if you're not fluent in Japanese, kind of pops up, is there for a couple of seconds, and then goes away. So it was really hard to like kind of get our phones up to the screen, Google Translate on the camera to realize what was happening, and then go away. But
yeah, we weren't able to really.
I mean, the text is there. There are stories.
Yeah, we couldn't like dig into this though because we couldn't read what anything said and couldn't select the right options. But the cool part is you could invade the rival promotions and they could also invade yours. So we could have a little Survivor Series 2001 on our hands.
So that's where they got the idea.
Now, wrestlers will never sign with a rival while they're a champion, so you could retain your top stars by actually launching an invasion, then booking matches on your own card to challenge for other promotions' belts. And that's when their wrestlers come looking for revenge. And the main way in this game to build popularity is constantly booking your best wrestlers against other promotions' top stars in title matches. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to this game, single player. There's a lot to this game, 2-player. And one thing we said was there was a huge roster. But the thing is, it's very hard to like know who you're picking. So when we played this game, I picked Lady USA, or that's what I think her name was. That's not on the roster that I'm reading. So I think there's kind of like some hidden gems here that we also just don't know about.
I think some of the names may have gotten combined in in translation.
Right. So why don't we read through what we know of this roster right now?
All right.
So I'm going to read through the name, and then why don't you read through their wrestler type right after?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. So up first, we have Karen Akiyama,
Fiery Redhead,
Seiko Endao,
The Mighty Glacier,
Yuko Miyamoto.
Big Eater.
Me too. Sayuri Nakabayashi.
Fragile Speedster.
The Spike.
Lightning Bruiser.
Dusty Lola.
Jack of all stats.
Eldrick.
Oh.
Yeah, there's multiple of these
Fragile
wrestler types.
Speedster again?
Yeah, there's multiple of the wrestler types.
Okay.
So
okay.
the ninja
is another Jack of all stats.
Pink Flower. This is who you picked.
Oh. Attention Whore. Master of None.
And we saw that, how quickly I beat you.
That is true. That explains why my roster was so my move set was so small.
That's true. You did say that. Now, Cindy Gibson
is a heel. She's Johnny Clash.
Annie Bree
does not like men.
The Secatori.
Stonewall.
Luna Alpana.
Another fragile speedster.
Liza Gordon. This is my favorite one.
Is a heel / jerk ass.
That's you.
Jerk ass.
Then we have, last but not least, the Roomba.
It is the thing that cleans your floor. No, it is Master of None, the genetic girl.
Whatever.
See, when you look at the Roomba, you're looking at the genetic girl.
Whatever that means. So why don't we go through the character models and the art style of this game? I already mentioned a little bit of how it's presented, but let's go through kind of what they look like here.
I'm getting a big throwback to last week's episode when we were playing Nitro, and there was that character, Annie Mae. That's the style I'm getting here. Big influence on that Annie Mae from WCW Nitro.
Yeah, big anime notes. It's very obviously the whole game is animated. They're not meant to look like the Undertaker looks like the Undertaker. They're not meant to look like that. They're meant to look like anime characters. Yeah,
these are characters and designs straight from a manga, and I mean,
it's a cool presentation.
It's very interesting. I will say this: the you and I both, during our playthrough and even during Clash of the Feast, continuously spoke about how cool we thought those little 4 panels that set up the moves were before you see the final big strike happening. So, you see, a test of strength. You see, someone transitioning, they hook the arm over the back of their head, they lift someone up, and then you see the vertical suplex happen, and then the big picture pops up, and you see the impact. And I thought it was a very cool presentation for what is essentially a glorified card game.
Yeah, it's really cool. And everything's I can't really say anime because there's not much like animation, but the animations are perfect, if that makes any sense. It just looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. The presentation is cool. It's good.
So the whole background while you're actually selecting your moves is a crowd with a ring, and you can see your 2 wrestlers in the ring moving left and right, out of the ring, in the ring. So that also affects, like, maybe you're in a submission hold, but you're outside the ring. That might not go well for you.
Yeah, and we talked about how your sprites kind of bounce all over the ring while you're fighting. And it's weird to get like a grasp on that. Like,
yeah,
like where you are, what moves put you where, and how you got there, and if you're outside, do you do more damage? Like it's strange.
But we also figured out after our first run through, where our game lasted like 15 minutes, there was a button we had to press to make a move have a pin after it. That also worked for submissions, which were kind of weird because in a submission hold, you have 2 options, which are to use your health to just bust out of the move right away, which is risky because you lose a lot of health, or you could use like your strength and kind of like a tug-of-war style, get out of the move. It still wastes your health, but not as much. But if you don't have enough, you're going to lose.
It's so the submission mechanic in this game was, what did we say that the 2 terms were from the Google Translate?
Oh God, I don't remember.
It was like struggle or reach, and then like power out was the other. So it's like you can either try to crawl and maneuver your way to the ropes to break the hold, or you can try to, like, how you would see actual wrestlers power out of like a Boston Crab, and or like something like that. It's a gamble, I guess, is the way that it's supposed to be.
They both affect your health differently.
Just don't do the struggle twice. Don't try to power out 2 times in a row, because it's not going to work. You're not going to like it.
All right, so the artwork for here.
I mean, this looks
game
straight ripped from like early 90s like manga cover. Like, it looks exactly like what you would expect. If you told me there was a manga wrestling game, this is what I'm picturing 100%.
But again, if you don't know the title, it says Super and then the Japanese letters for Wrestle Angels. That's the only aspect of this cover that actually shows that it's a wrestling game. There's no ring, there's no ropes. You could barely tell they're in wrestling gear. Actually, the top one looks like Edge in 1999. But then on the back, the same image is doubled. So you have that again with some text, and then 3 screenshots of the game where only one shows like a wrestling move, which is a giant like spin kick. And then it shows the territory and how to play through like the single player mode. There's not much wrestling here. And we actually have a picture of the cartridge as well, which just, again, repeats the same image.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing that really screams wrestling here, but I mean, they knew what sold. This was what was going to sell that game. If you're familiar with the Wrestling Angels series, and you were familiar with the cards, then you knew exactly what this was going to be, just from looking at it. Again, we don't speak Japanese, but I'm sure that seeing the words Super Wrestle Angels on the front cover will also grab your attention. And put
ring ropes. Just put ring ropes behind them. It's simple.
Yeah,
as that.
something. Just make the background, instead of it just being blue, throw them in a ring. Maybe show the crowd.
Who are we to talk? We're just two designers, right?
Different times. Different times.
Different times. But George, did you know?
Did you know this game is technically a remake of the third game in the series, but with all of the partial nudity removed?
Did you know new in this version is multiplayer management mode, where up to 3 players can each run their own franchise, setting up matches between their wrestlers and attempting to build the top wrestling empire within a set number of years?
Did you know Super Wrestle Angels goes for $24.99 used and $182 brand new on eBay?
Wow. That's a lot. So 3 players here can run their own promotion. I wonder how long it takes to, say, like, get through a year of that mode, because if you're sitting around on a Super Famicom, I'm assuming you're using one controller and passing it back and forth for whose turn it is. You can't, there's no like save slot there.
That's a really good question.
So at some point it's got to end, or else, I don't know, you just turn the console off and that's it. Maybe they give you a code. I doubt it for 1994.
I mean, codes could be a thing, maybe, but I would imagine that. No, there's got to be something else. There's got to be some kind of save mechanic itself, because Super Famicom is an SNES, and you could save on the SNES. Like,
that's true.
Super Mario All-Stars and all that stuff, they had the capability to save.
That's true, but does this game? I don't know. That's something we have to test and check out.
Yeah. But, I had to be honest with you, John. I'm still feeling the live stream. I think
a little groggy.
I think it's time for that soothing music and for you to take us through some ratings and reviews.
All right, and as usual for an early Japanese title, I couldn't really find much, so I'm going to go off the Game FAQ user rating, and we're going to go with the game rating. People give this game a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The difficulty a 3 out of 5, and the length of gameplay is an average of a 3 out of 5 in the length, which is out of 21 hours. So I guess that's about around the 11 mark, 10 and a half, 11 mark.
Yeah.
So the good part about what we're talking about with this is, if people are playing this on emulator, you can save your save state. So I guess you can continue that way and keep playing.
That is true. Save states are the emulator's best feature, in my opinion.
It is, but I was just going to say that I think between everything we've talked about today, that right now it is time to rate the game.
The game!
George Feis, Super Wrestle Angels. Will you play it forever?
Woo!
Or future endeavor?
You're fired!
So I was thinking that maybe not future endeavor.
You're fired!
Okay.
Yeah, no. This game's not for me. And it's not concept cool. Presentation was okay. It didn't wow me. Didn't do anything for me. So
okay.
Yeah. Johnny Clash, Super Wrestle Angel. Play it forever. Future endeavor.
Yeah.
Red pill, blue pill.
I think I'm going to shock you here, and I'm going to say play it forever.
Are you effing kidding me?
The odds of me actually playing this game, like, again, are very slim. But if you said, like, hey, let's play this game on stream, or let's play this game again, I'd be like, oh, all right, cool.
I feel like maybe this would have been a little better if we could read what happened. If there's an English translated version somewhere on the internet, I will try to find it and we will revisit this on stream. But
Yeah. I'm sticking with I'm playing it forever. I liked it. It was simple.
Very interesting.
I would like to dive into that single player mode.
All right. Well, there's something for you to do on stream. There you go.
Try to
On
figure
our
it out.
Twitch
Try to
channel.
figure out what everything says.
That's how you're going to learn Japanese. But Johnny Clash, it is now time for us to talk about the weekly tournament that we have on this show, because it is now time for Clash at the Feast.
All right, George. I think I want you to take us through Clash at the Feast this week.
Ah, boy. So should we talk about the technical difficulties that we had first, and how we recorded the entire thing with no audio and then had to go back and dub over it? Yeah, it's
George
we're
is
doing
tired.
commentary. We're doing commentary on your own thing. So we did our normal 2 out of 3 first match. I was Flower, and Johnny Clash was the USA. And took me out with a Boston Crab, and we decided to do second match. Second match, I was someone called Moat. That's what Google Translate said that my name was, Moat. And Johnny once again was the USA. This match went a little bit longer, but in the end, Johnny Clash, he beat me with another Boston Crab because I did the struggle a little too much, tested my luck, which means your winner. And tying December? Ooh. So now we have to go to a tiebreaker this Wednesday on Twitch. Your winner is Johnny Clash.
Play my music.
Not everything's made to last. This is my life. This is my life. This is my time. This is where I shine.
All right, so we talked about the game. We talked about the ratings. We talked about Clash at the Feast. Why don't you tell us what we're playing next week?
All right, so we've been hearing a lot about this game from a few listeners, and finally pulled the trigger and decided that now is the time we are going to be playing Wrestling Revolution 3D.
Oh, baby. All right.
So this will be a fun episode, and can't wait. This is a game that I have heard great things about. So next week, that's what we're jumping into.
This game just looks like chaos.
That's what I'm hoping for.
It looks like there's just no collision detection at all.
That's what I'm hoping for. Just pure, unadulterated chaos. And then the week after that, I've got another banger of a game to play.
Oh, God.
Yep.
All right. Take us home.
All right. That is going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks podcast. Please check out our Pro Wrestling Tees store at prowrestlingtees.com/GameMarksPod. It is currently the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts, and subscribe wherever great podcasts can be found. Thank you for hanging out with us this week. Thank you for supporting GameBoree and Game Marks Mania and helping us raise so much money for some very amazing and brave kids. Social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands. Johnny Clash, say goodbye.
Game over, Marks.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the clash at the feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.